Hey guys, so I just wanted to kind of talk about addiction. I so when I was 21, my parents they took me to this bar for my 21st birthday, and I remember going in there. It was a place downtown, Piranha, but it was really cool. It was an Irish pub, and I really loved the way that the the look of it and just all the stuff on the walls and it was just really cool. And so I had my first beer. I think it was a Bud Light, and I ended up really liking it. So I had that and everything. Well, the thing is when you never drank before and you start and you have your first beer, you get a buzz very quickly. And I'm not a big guy, so that also plays a factor in you get a buzz really fast. And I remember having this really good feeling. And all my life I had dealt with chronic pain and arthritis and my back with scoliosis and just every day dealing with pain. So when I had that drink and I had this buzz going, it felt really good. And so I ended up. Uh, it didn't. It started out. It was fine. I only had like a couple beers or so, and then over time, I started going out a lot more because the people there were very nice, and I ended up making some friends there, and I felt uh, I felt important. I felt kind of I didn't have this emptiness feeling. I didn't feel alone anymore. So it was a good feeling. So I kept going. And well, the thing about downtown Puyallup is that there's a lot of bars that are within like 5 minutes from each other. So it's like you get you go to one bar and then you could bar hop all night long. I mean, that's what, and there's good people in there. There's also not so good people, and the other thing that started happening was that people that would start buying me drinks because I don't know why I just would start to have a conversation with them, and before I knew it, they were buying me drinks and stuff, and so that, again to you felt like they liked you, and it felt good. So of course you drank what they bought you, and started out with Bud Light, then Coors Light, then Angry Orchard. I love that Angry Orchard. That was my favorite. And well then I think I was like 20. By the time I was 23, I was pretty deep into it. I would it became like a part of my life. This drinking, and I started doing shots like Fireball, Jaeger Bomb, Duck Fault. I mean, it just spiraled out of control pretty quickly. But the again, you had that feeling, that buzz, and that feeling of it's like you felt you had no pain, you got no nothing, and it got to a point where reached I was at a really low point in my life at that time because I couldn't get a job. I mean, I was 23 years old. I still didn't have a job. I graduated high school in 2011, so I felt like a complete loser and failure. I didn't even have a girlfriend. Didn't even have like one date. So and all I felt like I was being stereotyped and all the controversy that comes along with being disabled. People, not believing in you. People, thinking of you as a joke. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great people out there, and I've met a lot of great people. But then you have those other half that are like, I mean, they'll take advantage of you if if they get a chance, they'll do it. And I met some people that wanted to buy me a drink just because they liked me and they wanted to hang out with me. And then I met some other people that, I mean, we're talking like grown ass people that would actually they would buy me the drink and they would keep doing it. They would want me to have that drink. And of course I fell for it every time, and I drank and I drank and I drank. I mean, it was. I mean, I would start to black out. I would, it was crazy at times, but I felt like, I always struggled with getting along with people my own age. I always got along with people that were adults, that were older than me, because that's all I knew. Because that's I was around. That's all I was around growing up. So I never really had. I wasn't an average 23-year-old that always, you know, got in the truck and go party with their meet up with their friends. And I didn't have like three girlfriends or anything like that. So it was. But in the bars, I felt at the time, I felt at least I wasn't alone. And so I started going out, and every single day it became an everyday thing. And uh, I think it got to the point where I would have like one beer and then I would just go straight to shots, and I would black out again. And so then it kind of I got tired of. I would have hangovers and I would feel like crap, and so I would slow down. And it was, it ended up being a little bit better, but still not. If somebody bought me a drink or what pressured me into drinking more, I would do that, and then I would end up right back to blacking out, passing out, uh, things like that. But I kept doing it, and I uh, I ended up, by the time I was 25. Um, my health, it started to affect my health, um, physically and mentally, actually. My stomach started to hurt a lot more. I started to have, you know, just pain in my back a hell of a lot more. And things just, I started to become um, just not a very nice person. And that's another thing. I'm not, I definitely am an angry drunk. People call it a mean drunk, but I like to say angry drunk because, um, when you drink that much, way too much, you black out, and the only thing that shows up is emotions. And that could be 1 minute you are crying, and you're like a 2-year old, and then the next minute you are angry and you feel like the Hulk and you are ready to brawl. And I went through all of that, and unfortunately, my mom always had to come in and deal with me all those times, and I'm always I always kick myself for letting it letting myself get that out of control and putting her through that. And that's a big Yeah, that's a big regret that I have. But well, by the time I was 26, I uh, I would I was continuously going to the bars, and I would uh, I would come home because I would get cut off from the bartenders, and they would I would come back home. Well, you know, I they say I can't drink anymore, and I'm like, no, I'm not done yet. So I would come home, and at the time, my dad had a kegerator. He made his own beer, so it was like IPA. I mean, really strong, really good beer. So I would spend all night long in my room, and I would drink that like all night long. And I would just zone out into music, and I would just get really, really stupid, really drunk, really, blacked out. Just yeah, it was not good. And but at the end of the day, I was still in pain. I was still upset. I was still just. I was so deep into depression, and I was so deep into anger that I I got to a point where I started to feel like I everyone else would be better off if I just wasn't here. So having that mindset, uh, you do a lot of self destruct. You do a lot of you burn a lot of bridges with people, and you just let's just say you get to see the police quite a bit, and I ended up that kind of happened to me a few times where I would get too drunk and the police would be called, and yeah, of course, they they would not expect to see somebody like me making that big of a noise. So when they would get there, they would see me. They kind of, I mean, the looks on their faces was kind of priceless. Thinking back at it, um, but yeah, it just got really bad. And uh, anyway, so one night, just like any other night, gone out, I have been out, drinking, and I got cut off again from the bartender, and I came back home and I drank all night. Because I got tired of getting cut off. I mean, it was like every time I get cut off. And at that point, I'm like pissed off, and I'm like, screw the bartender, screw everybody. And I'm going to sit in my room, and I'm just going to just listen to music and just drink till I don't wake up or something. So that's what I did. Well, I drank so much that I did something to my stomach really bad, and I ended up. I was at that point. I was drunk. I blacked out. It was like 3 in the morning, and I ended up. I guess I called the fire department, and they came, and I don't really remember a whole lot, but anyway, I ended up in the hospital, and I ended up with a kidney infection. So I ended up staying a week in the hospital because not only was I drinking a lot, but I was also doing pain pills because I was still in a lot of pain. So I ended up going to a pain clinic, and you know it was pretty easy for me to get set up with some pain meds. So I ended up doing that too, and I ended up taking. I mean, I would take like it got to the point where I would take like like 3 or 4 or 5 sometimes a day, until I ran out of the bottle. And so you know the point is that I like I said, I reached a really low point in my life, and my depression just really got the best of me, and I completely just lost myself, and I just, that's the thing about drugs and alcohol is that, I never did anything illegal, but it was, at the end of the day, it's still alcohol, it's still drugs, and I, I was in such a deep depression that I just didn't know how to handle, life anymore. That's what um, life has so much responsibility, so much pressure, and so much tragedy sometimes, and sometimes all the bad things sometimes can take over the good things to the point that you don't see any good anymore. You just see that your life sucks and you just can't deal with it anymore. So I had I reached the point that I got to is that I just didn't. I never saw the people that I was hurting. I never saw how bad I was hurting myself, and I never saw how bad I was, hurting my mom. So, uh, so that was, yeah, that was, I think that was rough. And so, when I ended up in the hospital. I ended up being in there for a week. I was, treated with, being treated for the infection. And, when you're in there for a week, you have no other choice but to dry out and think. And that's all you are able to do. So, and I definitely, that's what I did is I dried out and I was thinking a lot. And I basically I had to decide if I wanted to, because I was about ready to be released from the hospital. So at that point, I had to decide, did I just want to did I want to live or did I want to die? And I kind of started to think because I was clear headed, so I was able to actually think for once. And, I started thinking of my dog Max, and I started thinking about all the good things that I did have and how far I have come from all the crap that I came from, uh, and I don't know. I just kind of felt like I had to keep going, and I just that's what I ended up doing. Is I just I kept doing it. I think it's been almost a year now since I've had a drink or any kind of pain med or anything like that. So I'm clean and I'm sober, and I feel pretty good about that. I still don't have a job and I still don't have a girlfriend, but um, I feel like I just know that I can't go back to the way it was, and I can't do that to myself, can't do that to my mom and anything like that. So um, I have good days and I have bad days like everybody else. And that's what life is. Life is full of bad and good. And man, life will eat you up, and it will spit you out, and it will eat you again, and it'll. I mean, that's just what it will do. And there's people that can really, really, conquer it and make make it happen. And then unfortunately, there's people that just can't do it. They get overwhelmed. They get so um, they just get um, what's the word? They just they get overwhelmed with the pressure of life, and having being a people out there that are parents, single parents, and just and people that are that have that are struggling, with their jobs. Maybe they don't like their boss, or maybe they don't like how much they're getting paid, or maybe they're not getting paid enough, or maybe they're not getting to a goal to where they want to be. And sometimes when that's the case, it just seems impossible. You're like, because you feel like, why am I even trying? Why am I even doing when you're trying, and then you figure out that you're nowhere near close to what you want to be, or where you want to be at. And so a lot of people just, man, they just hit rock bottom. I mean, like, hard. And thankfully now I have a good support system. I have somebody that from a really good group that's becoming an advocate for me. They're helping me with applying for jobs, and just trying to. I'm not very good with computers. As much as I love technology and as much as I love computers, I'm just not that good at it. So I'm not. I have a lot of trouble filling out applications, and uh, and so thankfully I have somebody now that can help me sort that out. And so we'll see what happens. I'm hoping all this is over with. I can get back into uh, getting a job, but it's hard. I mean, man, it's hard. I mean, it's like you know some of the some of these managers and some of the business people that you come across. Um, it's like they look at me, or they look at you like like they don't believe. Like they don't believe you. They don't believe that you could even do it. And that's the thing about it, is that if you go to them, if you do the application, you turn it into them, and then you go up and you follow up, and they give you this look like like you're from outer space. It's like filling out that application doesn't even matter. So that's a struggle that I'm dealing with now, that I'm stressed out, because it's like, I have plans, I have goals that I want to do and achieve in my life. And, when you're trying to do that and you have somebody that looks at you like you're some kind of, loser or disappointment, it's very difficult to keep your composure. But, at the end of the day, you just have to get up every day. You have to eat. You have to get dressed. You have to get ready. You, you have to get ready to and face society. Um, and if you, I believe that if you keep doing it, if you keep trying, um, eventually, you'll get to where you want to be. But like I said, it's very difficult, especially people that have, um, going through depression, and going through some emotional things, like myself and like a lot of people. And it's especially with this coronavirus predicament that's going on now. Man, it has impacted so much. Like I said before, I live in Puyallup, so Puyallup, Washington. So it's a small town. So there's a lot of small businesses and a lot of things that go on here, and the community. They rely a lot on the community, and so now with this predicament happening, it's very difficult. A lot of places have closed. Um, a lot of people have been impacted, financially or emotionally. Um, I can't even imagine um, what. some people are going through. I don't have kids. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a whole lot of responsibility, but you know, I I still. I mean, I think I have a responsibility to live, and that's what's so hard. So uh, but we're all in this together, and I try to remember that, even though sometimes it's very hard to do that because sometimes you know you, you sometimes you think that it's only you, because you're the one going through it, but it's a lot. Everybody's going through it right now. Uh, but yeah, I know that eventually we'll get through this, and just have to keep just have to try to keep yourself busy and try to just keep yourself, you know, um, just try to keep going. So anyway, uh, I'll I'm gonna probably head off soon. So hope you guys do well, and feel free to comment or ask me anything or anything like that. I'd be happy to help if I can or answer any questions. So, all right, thank you. Bye.